was spread over 12 hours.
It doesn't matter.
There were some sweets involved. You know, we stopped at pie in the skies. Like
David Kravitz or Michael White would say.
It's also they just say it differently, right? Michael Wright would say it's all good.
And then David Kravitz.
It's still fun. Nah. Oh yeah.
His house had a fire, and then it's trying to rebuild it, but yeah, but now he's trying to sell it. You know, I think he's not getting enough money, so he's selling it to a builder, and he's very upset. So where's that was one of your big questions. He hasn't had that for years. He hasn't had that for years.
That's the kitchen closed.
You know, it opens, it closes.
No, in front of the tower doesn't do it.
We played at that place on the first night it opened. The first night was finally open for the public, like 2 months after it was supposed to open. Yeah, that's a different thing. I don't know. Anyway, so
Test. Okay. Beautiful.
saying it's all good. So Michael Wright was
All right. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, friends.
I haven't met everybody here yet, so I'll just introduce myself. Just
You
to
sh-
make
as you
sure.
should. And it's
Okay.
also the Zoomiverse. You should
Okay,
introduce
hi
yourself.
Zoomiverse.
Hello, Zoomiverse.
I'm Rabbi Sharon Litwin. I am the Director of Youth and Family Education here at Temple Ner Tamid, and I started here in June, so I haven't really had a chance to meet everybody yet, but I'd love to. So if at the end of the service, when we tell everybody to meet someone new, I could be your someone new, and come and say hello to me if you haven't.
That's such a good idea.
And I'm really happy to be here
We're
and
glad
happy
you're
to
here.
be at Shabbat. I'm
Me
happy
too.
to be at Shabbat, and it's been a long week, and I'm really very grateful that we can take a deep breath together, say goodbye to the week that was, say hello to the rest and renewal that we will get together as a community, and that Shabbat will bring to us. So we're going to start singing Shalom Aleichem.
Page 24. Join us and our amazing band. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem לשלום, Boachem לשלום, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yeah, get that clapping going. Zeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
I'm excited to welcome our Bar Mitzvah family, Brady Reamer and his family, to come up to help us to light Shabbat candles and for Kiddush on page 2. So Brady and all your family who are coming to help light Shabbat candles, come on up.
turn to pages 2 and 3.
So first read the English.
Got it. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech
ha'olam asher
tav metzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitchanu b'mitzvotav beratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh fereshi ki yom techila למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה ורצון. חינכלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
L'chaim. Yasher koach. I'm sure it only bodes well. Do you know everybody does that? Every kid.
They do.
It's just, maybe we should get some Kedem grape juice in there.
We missed your reading, sorry.
We continue with Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Shabbat bride as she comes into our midst, page 20. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתחילה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מכרם נסוכה, זאת מעשה במחשבת תחילה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. verse 5 התעוררי, kiva orei kumi uri 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 shivdaveri kivot Adonai alayich nigla lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikavila la la lecha lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikavila. We face Hoi v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simecha ובצולה תוכבוניים עם סגולה בואי חלה Here we go לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה.
We remain standing as we turn to page 28 for Baruch.
Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Be my echo. Baruch Adonai.
Baruch Adonai
HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. You may be seated, but keep singing with us. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam va'ed Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam HaMevorach arechu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Our attention goes to our screen for B'chokhmah.
In your wisdom, you open the gates. We don't know why or how, but the gates of all creation are opened, and we get to breathe in the miracle, the ordinary magic and the profound miracle. B'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach she'arim. Try it again. B'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach she'arim. Before the wind I am weak, before the sun I faint. I lose my strength, I lose my strength. B'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach she'arim. B'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach b'chokhmah puteach she'arim. Vanquished by a star, I go to my knees, I lose my strength, I lose my strength. Bichochma poteach, bichochma poteach, bichochma poteach she'arim. Bichochma poteach, bichochma, bichochma, bichochma poteach she'arim. Before the song of a bird, before the breath of spring or fall, I am lost to nothing at all. Bichochma poteach, bichochma poteach, bichochma poteach she'arim. One more time. Bichochma poteach, bichochma poteach, bichochma poteach she'arim. Before the miracles, Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
Page 34, 32.
Two.
Sorry,
That was my
32.
bad. We continue Ahavat Olam. Page 32. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadita, otanu limadita. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. Together. Shema
Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני
Adonai Elohechem.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
So on Wednesday, I was called in to stand in for Rabbi Katz for about 10 minutes in confirmation class. Just as he was teaching, no, it was awesome actually. Just as he was teaching about the structure of the Siddur, about the structure of the prayer service, and to coming up on this particular prayer. So Rabbi Katz had taught about how the blessings before the Shema are, the two blessings before are about God as a creator and God as a revealer, one who gave us the Torah as a gift of love. So then we turned to the pages and I said, okay, so let's read this blessing, and we read it in English. And the word that kept on coming up is redeemer, redeemer. So I asked 10th grade, what does it mean to be redeemed? And they kind of kept looking at me, looking. And one of the kids said, maybe it's an opportunity for a second chance. And I thought, that is kind of when you have redemption, you get an opportunity for a second chance. It could be, I gave them an example, the Jersey Shore, when you take those tickets you won playing skee ball and you bring them to get a prize, you redeem your tickets and you get a prize. So you get something in return, right? That could be a redemption, right? But that idea of a second chance, right? That the Israelites were enslaved and they had a second chance, an opportunity to be free. And each of us, right? Each thing that we do in our lives, there's always a time when we need a second chance. We're never fully, completely free in our actions. We're never fully, completely blameless in the things that we might do that affect and impact others. And so the idea that every time we say this prayer, we have that opportunity to thank God for a God who gives second chances is really incredible and powerful. And what an opportunity for gratitude I felt, even just to be able to teach that and to learn it from the students this week. So we're on page 40, and we'll continue with Micha Mocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, וקראיה לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. A second chance on ya, 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 la, la, ya, 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 la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, 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 la, la. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Again, we turn our attention to the screen as we sing Hashki Venu, set to the tune of Matisyahu's One Day.
We'll get to Matisyahu's One Day, but first we say, as I lay down, I know I got a lot of baggage. Let me be free, let me be at peace. Here we go. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Lishalom, Vehamidenu Shomireinu Lechayim. השיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. Here we go. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing, and I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, praying, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Hashkivei Adonai Eloheinu והעמידנו שומרנו. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
We rise for, as we are able, page 46, Tefillah.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Together.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
We continue praying privately through page 62. invite you to keep praying privately. Or if you're ready and settled, return together, page 60, for a second chance, this time at our tefillah for peace, our prayer for wholeness. Join together. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasi Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasi Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rab al Yisrael amcha tasi leolam. Shalom rab al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Mitov be'einecha livarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eretz u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim, 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 tasim leolam.
This point in our service, we have an opportunity, redemption, to do it again. Turn to page 253 as we offer a Misha Berach, a prayer for those in need of healing. I'll ask you in a moment, I'll look around the room and you can add names of those people that you might be praying for, as well as the people on Zoom can add those names in the chat. Misha Berach Avotenu Vimotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, V'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. The one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say Amen as we look on the screen. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avo bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. I see that we've got a number of new people here, in part because of Brady's bar mitzvah tomorrow. So I want to welcome those who are here, and I will see you a lot more tomorrow as well. But for those who don't know me, my name is Rabbi Mark Katz. I'm one of the rabbis here at the congregation. And I have been thinking a lot this week about the Noah story, which we're going to read tomorrow and which Brady is going to really unpack and read for us. One of the things I've been thinking about is not necessarily the story of Noah's Ark, which many of us may know, though I'm going to tell it in a second, but the aftermath of the Noah's Ark story. So as the story goes, right, humanity is evil. God decides that God wants to destroy humanity. So God says that God is going to bring a flood to this world and totally wipe everyone out. But in the meantime, he finds a man whose name is Noah, who's considered righteous in his generation, and asks Noah to build an ark for which he will bring not only his family, but all of the animals so that he may repopulate the world. So Noah does this. He spends years building this ark. He goes, he gathers the animals, and we have to imagine it was not an easy task to be there, to watch the world destroyed, to feed the animals, to take care of the animals. Now, whether or not you see this as a myth or not, there's real value in the diligence that Noah has in this story. But then Noah lands, and Noah's life completely falls apart. Now, it could fall apart because of him losing it, because of having held it together for so many years. It could fall apart because of mental illness, or it could fall apart just because Noah's had it. But what we find is that Noah first plants a vineyard when he lands. And in that vineyard, he plants and harvests all of the grapes, and he becomes completely drunk. And his children observe as he completely loses it. And in doing so, we don't know exactly what happens, but we know when he wakes up, he loses it on his kids. In fact, he curses one of his children, Ham. And from then on, we don't really hear from Noah. Noah's end of his story is bleak. Noah's end of his story is tragic. But the question that I've been thinking about is, does the end of his story, the fact that his life completely falls apart, the fact that I think unjustly, at least the way that I read the story, he loses it on his children, does it take away from the fact that he did so much at the beginning of his life that was good? When, to use another term in the modern era, does canceling someone, right, does letting someone go because of what they've done undercut everything that they've done before? Now, the reason I've been thinking about this is because for a very long time, I was a huge Kanye West fan. And so as I was in college, my anthem during my sophomore year was his first album, College Dropout. I think it's one of the greatest rap albums of all time. In fact, Jesus Walks, which was kind of the hit from that album, might be one of my favorite rap songs, my favorite hip hop songs that I know. And arguably, I listened to him as it moved up. His third album, which is called Graduation from 2018, is arguably the best or one of the best rap albums of the aughts, right, of the year 2000 to the year 2010. And so I've been thinking a lot about that because as Kanye West has been losing it, I think we can all agree that he has. And whether it's just plain anti-Semitism or whether he actually is suffering from mental illness, which I think that he probably is, the question that one needs to ask is, what do we do with the art that the artist creates? Can you separate the art from the artist? And I've been feeling a little bit of a pull, in part because he's been in the news so much, to return to that era of my life and listen to some of his songs this week after having had him over the past few weeks not only make anti-Semitic statements about the Jews, but double down on those statements as well. And the question being, should I now or should I ever listen to that music? And by the way, that matters in part because once you start to get to a certain age, and Brady, you will get to this age one day too, you're going to find that you kind of just want to listen to the songs that were formative for you in your past, rather than necessarily explore new music, which means that those albums from the late 90s and the early aughts are the things that if I were to go on a run, bring me comfort, bring me home, including his music too. And so I've been struggling with the fact that, am I done with Kanye West or not because of what he did? In the same way that we asked that question about Noah, does the latter part of his life, does the latter part of his career undercut the good stuff that may have come earlier or not? And so I've been thinking a little bit about this because at the core, the question is, am I personally canceling Kanye West? And Judaism actually has a lot to say about that. It's got a long history of wrestling with that exact question. And according to Judaism, by the way, if someone is unrepentant and they've sinned, and I would count overt anti-Semitism as a sin, you are allowed to do what you need to do to turn the tide on that person. Which means first, according to Jewish law, you have to go to that unrepentant sinner privately, sit down with them, try to get them to change. But if they don't, and by the way, plenty of people have with him, then you're allowed to up the ante. You're allowed to publicly call them out. You're allowed to gather their friends to shame them. You're allowed, even at certain points, to torture them until they change, right? There's a large amount of Jewish law that talks about ostracizing someone, right? About kicking them out of the community until they are ready to come back and to do what they need to do. Even for certain cases, like in the Orthodox community, men who won't grant women divorces and leave them what's called as agunot, right? Stranded in a marriage, you are allowed in the ancient world to take them and actually give them like physical abuse until they do that. Now, that's not something we would stand for in the modern era, but you can, for example, not allow them into your synagogue anymore. You can, for example, make sure no one talks to them anymore. You can shun the sinner until that sinner turns around, because it is your obligation, if you live in a community where someone is doing the wrong thing, to do what you need to do to help them, to save them. And so excommunication in Jewish history has often been used as a tool to turn that person who needs to be turned. Excommunication being the precursor to the modern day canceling, which means that if you're Adidas, there's actually plenty of Jewish law to support the fact that you're going to drop him from your roles. And the same hopefully will go to the Gap or to any of those other groups. So then the question is, well, what do I do? And the truth is, if I were to go onto Spotify and I were to stream him, there would be a little piece of what I was doing that he was benefiting from, right? There would be, I mean, we're talking fractions of pennies, but every time that you do stream something, that person does get something in return. And so we have to draw the distinction between the person who has the ability to change and the heat on that person to change and the person who cannot. It's not the same conversation, for example, as asking, should I read Voltaire or should I listen to Wagner? Right? Voltaire was an avowed anti-Semite. Wagner was an avowed anti-Semite. Neither Voltaire nor Wagner can ever change their ways. And so I can't be putting heat on these historical figures that might have created great art and who were anti-Semitic. The clock has run out on them, and I actually feel like I feel okay going to a Wagner opera if I want to. I feel okay picking up one of my favorite books of all time, Candide. I'm allowed to engage with them in part because it's no longer my obligation to try to change their hearts and minds. But in the modern era, when you can possibly put the heat on someone, it doesn't matter how wonderful the beginning of their career was, because at the end of the day, if you have the ability to change them and you do not, you are actually held partly accountable for the sins in which they are engaged. We are, according to our tradition, guarantors for the society in which we live. And thus, when someone is failing, it is our failure as well. Which means that as much as I love his music, and as much as it defined a period of my life, there's a piece of me that is morally obligated to refrain from listening until I see that he has changed. And so I don't know where you fall in this debate. And I probably am pretty sure many of you do not listen to Kanye West. But whether we're talking about Kanye, or whether we're talking about seeing Braveheart, Mel Gibson, or whether we're talking about anybody else who has, in this way, stepped outside the bounds of acceptable behavior, and the question being, do you keep their art separate from the artist? I would say the only way you can do that is if you have no agency. And in a way, to separate art from artist means that you've given up on the fact that your behavior actually can make a difference on the micro level, and that it matters. And so refraining from watching, refraining from listening, refraining from engaging, refraining from cheering for that athlete means actually that you matter much more than you think. And my hope is that you don't squander that. Shabbat Shalom.
We return in our Siddur, taking that in for a minute, to Aleinu on page 282, and I ask that you rise as you are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kikoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Our thoughts turn now to those we love who have passed from life. As is the way of our people, through our recitation of Kaddish, we honor their lives by praising God for letting us walk at their side and they at ours for even a little time. I invite you, if you're so inclined, to individually rise at your seat as I call the names of your loved ones, the yahrzeits for this Shabbat: Kitty Breslow, Nathan Degenshine, James Egan, Molly Feiertag, Max Feldman, Joseph Forum, Edith Glicken, Howard Goldstein, Edward Gutterman, Walter Hout, Spencer Kimball, Albert Kopel, Rose Chapman Levin, Arlene Linetsky, William Mendelson, Klaus Mide, Rebecca Mosankis, Irving Nepo, Albert Nolan, Charles I. Potters, Benjamin Roth, Rose Ruffalo, Mickey Salinon, Howard Bow Chamberlain, Elizabeth Sconzo, Sylvia Brazaza Siegel, Miriam Shankman, Lawrence Schaller, Daniel Silverman, Misha Slatkin, Carl Strauss, Herbert Sugarman, Larry Weiss, Irving Zazik. If you're observing a yard site and I did not call the person's name and you'd like to add it, please do. For those who are observing Shiva and Shloshim periods of mourning, I ask you to rise as I call these names. Dan Mendel, the beloved brother-in-law of Alana Roberts. Paul Rosenfield, beloved brother of Joanna Rosenfield. Jerry Keels, beloved brother of Stan Keels. David Frank, beloved husband of Karen Frank. Judith Rich, beloved wife of Robert Rich. Anne Rosenberg, beloved stepmother of Rob Rosenberg. In addition, if you'd like to rise and share the name for anyone whom you've observing yahrzeit or someone that you'd like to mention now, I invite you to do so. And if there's anyone here who's in the 1-year period of mourning, I invite you to stand and share with us the name of your loved one for whom you are reciting Kaddish. And now in support of all who are standing, oh, I'm sorry, I missed you. And now in support of those who are standing before us and in memory of the 6 million, I invite the entire congregation to rise. And if it's your custom, to join with the mourners in the recitation of Kaddish on page 294.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chaye b'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekridsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the memories of all our loved ones be for a blessing.
Amen.
You may be seated. All right, I have some notes here with the announcements.
Good, I was going to ask you,
I
Rabbi
do.
Sharon.
I do. I
What's
have some
happening?
notes. Let me tell you what's
What do we need
happening
to
in the
know?
next little bit of time here. So this Wednesday, we are going to be welcoming our one of our congressional candidates here in Essex County. Mikey Sherrill will be here on Wednesday evening, November 2nd at 7 p.m. And so I invite everyone here and all your friends, family,
all
and other
welcome.
one. Everyone is welcome. Anyone from the community, members of Ner Tamid or not, are welcome to come hear Mikey Sherrill this Wednesday at 7. Next weekend, we will be having our Temple Ner Tamid annual film festival on Friday night, Saturday evening, and Sunday afternoon. Saturday night, there is a dinner, so if you would like to join us for dinner, please RSVP as soon as possible.
Great movie, great food.
Great movies, great food. More information, of course, on the website and in your eGarrett. We have launched our very exciting restoration of our Torah in honor of and dedicated by Ronnie Pressman for the Pressman Family Torah that will be part of our congregation. And if you would like to sign up to help to scribe our new Torah and to help to restore it, that is also information was sent out and it's on the website. This Sunday, there will be a camp fair. So if there's anyone here who does not yet have a summer camp for your child, grandchild, cousin, daughter, mother, father, I don't know, whoever wants to go to summer camp, right? No, come and find out about all the various Jewish summer camps that are in the area, day camps and sleepaway camps.
It's a smart time to think
It's
about
a good
camp.
time to think about camp in
got lots of-
October because camps fill up. So I like camp, I would go to.
Yeah.
And tomorrow morning, of course, we will celebrate with Brady. at his bar mitzvah at 10 a.m. So mazel tov to Brady and your whole family. Torah study will be before that on Zoom at 8:30
a.m.
And so that's what's coming up just in the next few days. Check out your Igeret, our website, and all the things that are happening to find out what else
That's
you can
right.
possibly do at Temple Ner Tamid, which is always a lot.
The takeaway is please read your emails.
Yes, well, you know.
We end our tefillah tonight with those words that we just lifted up at the end of Kaddish. May the source of the one who creates all of that peace allow us to know it and feel it. Thank you so much, band. We love you. Here we go. Use shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu. Use shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu. Use shalom bimroma. Shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Useh shalom bimroma. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Use shalom bimroma. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Use shalom bimroma, bimroma. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. One more time. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel. Yaseh shalom. Shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Come have a cookie.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
yes.
shalom.
Oneg
Thank you.
is it in the social hall or is it in the
Shabbat shalom
in the
in,
hall?
I mean,